Looks like we're up to chapter 8 already. You have chapter 8 over there?
Yes, it says 8.
Yeah? We're already up to chapter 8. And maybe today we'll be able to cover 8, 9, and 10. Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
Wow!
And all the prakim are very chashuv, very important, but there's not a lot of tension and stuff like that, but yeah, it's fine. So we're handing out Perek chapter 8, whoever else needs a copy. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
And yeah, please. Yeah. Welcome. Okay, and then we're in chapter 8.
Hola.
So we learned in contrast, just like towards the beginning when we started learning about Shemuel Hanavi, we learned about how the children of the two sons of Eli weren't following his ways, and then Shemuel Hanavi was chosen. And now, lo and behold, very similar with Shemuel Hanavi. Shemuel Hanavi, his two children also do not follow his ways, and now we're going to see that here also. Vayika asher zaken Shemuel vayasem et banav shoftim el Yisrael. And when Shmuel grew old, he placed his son to be shoftim on Israel, following his position, so they could do the same. Vayhi Shem benoah bechol Yoel v'Shem Mishneu Aviyah shoftim be'Be'er Shava. They were in Be'er Shava. Soon we're going to see why do we need to know that they were in Be'er Shava. What difference does it make where they are? But he has two children, Yoel and Aviyah. Ve'lo alchu banav v'dachav vayitu achrei habatza vayikhu shochad vayatu mishpat. So they didn't go after his ways. So after his ways means figuratively and also literally. Like they didn't go after his ways because we said last week, what do you mean his ways? His ways were that he would have a route. He would go around all the cities of where the Jewish people live, so he could educate them and lead them and see where they're holding, so he could stop them from doing things. So that was like his ways figuratively, but also physically, but also his ways is that just like Kadosh Baruch Hu commands Moshe Rabbeinu, when you appoint shoftim, when you appoint leaders, they have to be sonei batza. They have to hate money, hate thievery, hate stealing, hate kavod, run away from all these things, and she'emet sonei batza. And so over here, the children of Shmuel were not only did they not hate batza, but they went after the batza. They went after bribery and after money and after lying and after all these kind of things. And the fact that they live in Be'er Shava, also we're going to see over here, what difference does it make that they lived in Be'er Shava? So according to the Radak, that Be'er Shava haya biktzei Eretz Yisrael. Be'er Shava it's not central Israel. Now if you go even more south from Be'er Sheva, you can get lower to like
go to Egypt.
Yeah, like Egypt, Gaza, whatever it is, like a little, yeah. But it certainly wasn't central Israel, wasn't Yerushalayim, wasn't Hebron, wasn't like in the strip of where you find a lot of the Shuvim, Bet Shemesh, next to that, so Shta'ol, and all these kind of places. So not only did they not go around, they chose themselves a very peripheral city, I guess, that people want them, they have to come to them. Now, one of the Perushim, what was their problem also? That they enjoyed when people came to them, because when people arrived to where they were, not only did they get money or gifts from people, and they didn't have to work hard, but also they had people around them that also were hired to do services from all the visitors that came. And so they would get a cut from the services, that they got. It was really terrible, very bad. So all the all these scams you hear of today and whatever it is, this is old stuff. There's nothing new under the sun. And they would make money over here and also on the other side, and it was very, very bad. And as a consequence to that, ויתקבצו כל ישראל ויבואו לשמואל הרמתה, and all of Bnei Israel came to Shmuel Haramata. What is Haramata? To the Ramata where he lived. We said last week, Yisham Beto. ויאמרו אליו, הנה אתה זקנת, you have come of age, ובניך לא הלכו בדרכיך, your children are not going anyway. אתה שימה לנו מלך, now we want you to place a king for us, לשופטנו ככל הגויים, to judge us like all the nations. So we want you to place a king on us, so that we can be like all the nations. So the question is, okay, now what happens? Vayira davar b'nei Shmuel, and Shmuel is very upset. He doesn't like the fact that the Jewish people want a king. He's upset. Vayira davar b'nei Shmuel, kasher amut elanu melech shofteinu vayitpol Shmuel el Hashem, and Shmuel praised Hashem. He said, what's going on over here? Why do the people want a melech? It's very bad. And this is not a good thing. It's not a good sign. The Bnei Israel are not in a good position if they're asking for a king. So the Radak, Rabbi David Benchlouch, brings an opinion as to why. What's wrong with asking for a king? What's the big deal? So he says over here, there are 3 mitzvot that we were commanded to do upon entering the land of Israel. So Yeshua takes us into Eretz Yisrael, and we're commanded to do 3 things. Number 1, limnot aleim melech. God commands us to have a king. So why is it a sin over here? But by the way, what are the other 2 mitzvot? Limchot zera Amalek, to wipe out and eradicate the nation of Amalek. And 3, velivnot bet ha-bechira, and to build a home, a sanctuary, a mishkan, and subsequently a bet ha-mikdash. So if this is one of the mitzvot upon entering the land of Israel, what's so bad, what's so wrong? Why is Shmuel so upset? So he says over here, lefi shebeta'omet sha'alu to velo l'shem mitzvah, because they asked for a king in a ta'omet. Ta'omet either means like a quarrel, or it means like in a sleek way for a different ulterior motive. Oh, what was their ulterior motive? Why did they really want a king?
Yeah,
why? So he says over here, if they would have said, you know what, Shmuel, your children are not going in your ways. We don't have a leader as good as you. Please, don't retire. Can you not be a person that retires? Just stick around and we'll keep coming to you. So they could have said that. Or they could have said, נמנה בעצתך מלך עלינו אחר שאתה זקנת והמלך ישפטנו ויוכיחנו ויהיה מוראו עלינו לשמור דרך השם. They could have said, we want a king that you'll help us choose, and his yira and his fear and his guidance will be on us so that we could keep the word of Hashem. Right? זו השאלה, he says over here, the Radak הייתה טובה. אבל כשאמרו שימה לנו מלך, but when they said, put a king on us, לנו to us, היה רע ומיעוט בהשם יתברך. It showed that it was bad, and they didn't have bitachon in Hashem, they didn't have trust and faithfulness in Hashem. Why? Because they said, Kechol HaGoyim, like all the nations. And our sages believe over here that there's another perush over here, that why did they really want a king? Why did they really want a king? Because they wanted to go after Avodah Zarah. They wanted to go after Avodah Zarah. And they wanted to be like all the goyim. They didn't want to go after Hashem, and we're going to see that subsequently from the other pasuk right over here. So Shmuel calls Hashem in pasuk 7, pasuk Zayin, Vayomer Hashem, Vayomer Adonai Shemuel Shema b'kol ha'am yochal Hashem u'elecha, ki lo otcha ma'asu, ki oti ma'asu minoch aleim. Listen to them. Don't get upset. Allow them to ask for a king, because it's not you that they are going against. They're actually going against me. They're going against Hashem, right? He says over here, the same Mefarish, the Radak says, Lo otcha ma'asu ki oti ma'asu minoch aleim ve'en kavanatam she'imosu otcha. He says to Shemuel, hey, they're not upset at you. They're not angry. They don't want to go against you. They're upset at me. They just don't want to go after me. כי די להם היה בך כל ימי חייך, אבל אתה כשמצאו עילה לשאול שופט, שאלו מלך ואותי מאסו מנוח עליהם. He says over here, the Radak, so one Avera was that they wanted to be Kechol HaGoyim like all the other nations. The only reason why they wanted a king was to have Avodah Zarah. And another opinion says in Masechet Sanhedrin Zekenim that Amei Haaretz shebaim kilkelu, and they said v'gam anachnu niyeh kechol hagoyim. So basically, they don't want a king. They just don't want Hashem. They don't want a king. They just want Avodah Zarah.
But why to have a king would be?
They want someone that can push around.
For Avodah Zarah.
Why to have a king to be Avodah Zarah?
Yeah.
So we're going to see later in the Psukim that Hashem says, give them a king, and they wanted a king that is corrupt. Mm-hmm. They want a king that
they can corrupt.
Look the other way when they want to serve Avodah Zarah. That's what they want. Now, when you have a king, it's like, what do you want me? Everyone's doing this, So and by the way, when they get a king, they no longer are under Shmuel, or they're no longer under a judge. Because the judges, we have to remember, were also prophets. So they were very spiritual and pure. The kings were not necessarily prophets, even though we know David HaMelech was a prophet, Shaul HaMelech was a prophet. but there is a distinction between necessarily a king and a shofet, and initially that's their desire. Even though there's a disguise to it where they just say, we want a king so he could lead us into wars. But Hashem knows that it's really not for that. And we'll continue in Pasuk Chet. Kechol ha'ma'asim asher asu miyom ha'aluti otam mitzrayim. Like all the things that they did from the day that I took them out of Mitzrayim. Yeah. From then until today, they left me, they served other God. That's what they're doing to you. And Pasuk Tet, so now listen to their voice. So listen to them. Go with the flow, as they say, but tell them what they can expect. That the king that's going to rule over them, and soon we're going to see, is going to take advantage of them, lay taxes on them, have them serve him, have their children go to war for him, not ask them for them. It's personal. It's a very different relationship between a prophet and the nation, and a king and a nation. A king has jurisdiction, a king has privileges, a king has authority, a king. So we'll see that. And the Metzudat David also says the same thing. So actually, according to the Metzudat David, Hashem wants Shmuel to tell them, it's okay, you want a king, but it's not good for you to go or desire or choose a king that's eventually going to go against the Torah. Because the king needs to be close to the Torah. We also know that in the I think in Mishpatim it says that the Melech, v'chatav lo et sefer et Mishneh Torah azot, right? And the king has to have Mishneh Torah on it. What is Mishneh Torah? Sefer Dvarim. So a Melech, we all have to read from the Torah, but the Melech, the king, he had like a necklace, a chain, and on the chain a little Sefer Torah, not the whole 5 books, rather only the book of Dvarim. And if you actually, learn the book of Dvarim, even if, like this class, anybody, we learn the book of Dvarim, it instills Yirat Shamayim. It shows us about how, the ordinances of Hashem and the guidance of Hashem and the divine providence and all that and so forth. So, and he says over there, also the Metzudat David, that you should tell them Mishpat HaMelech. So Shmuel HaNavi tells them in Pasuk Yud and Yud Aleph. So now Shmuel tells the people what to expect when you're going to have a king. So he says in Pasuk Yud Aleph, he's going to take your children. You're going to have to go and give him rides in his chariot and wagons and all that kind of thing. Right? And the Metzudat David says, what do you mean Mishpat HaMelech, the ruling of the king? He says over here, Ha'oleh al rucho, mibli penot el mishpatei Torah. These are kings that do whatever they want without consulting or inquiring with the Torah what they should be doing. And he is going to enforce his rules on you. He's going to get you guys to do everything that he needs, to make weaponry for him, to plow his fields, to protect his palace, to build streets and whatever it is. Yeah. And your daughters, he's going to take to be his bakers, his to work in his palace, to do all these things, to bake, to cook, and all these things. And also your field he's going to take. Verse 14, and he's going to take percentages from you and so on and so forth. And also your slaves, as we see in Pasuk 15. So it's like, you want a king? He's going to take all these things away from you. Pasuk 17, Yudzayin. He's going to take 10% of all your cattle. So you really want this? You want a king that has so many needs just to get by? Just to start the day, he's going to, taking such cuts from everything. And he says over there, it's going to be so bad for you that you're going to call out to God, please save us from a king that we chose for ourselves. And Hashem is not going to answer you. But the nation refused to listen to the voice of Shmuel. So what is the word vayima'anu? He says in Pasuk Yutet, vayima'anu v'sarivu. V'sarivu mean lesarev is to reject and not to agree. They rejected the notion and all the ideas that Shemuel said, and they rejected everything that Shemuel said. And they said, no, we want a king. They're really, really adamant about having a king. And again, look at Pasuk Chaf, Pasuk 20. They want to be Kechol HaGoyim. They want to be like all the other nations. Not only for safety and guidance and whatnot. Ushfatanu malkenu v'yatza lefanenu v'yechamid b'chotenu. We want to fight our wars and so on and so forth. And Shmuel hears their words, conveys it back to God. And in verse 22, Hashem tells back to Shmuel, Shema b'kolam, listen to them, v'yimlachta la'hem melech, v'yom Shmuel Asher Yisrael lechu yishlechu. Okay, so he says, listen, just listen to whatever they want. They want that, fine. Okay, now there's a story about the first king, Shaul. The first king, Shaul. Where does he come from? What's his background story of his family? So, Perek Tet, chapter 9. What does it say over here? Vahi ish mi Benyamin. There's a man from Benyamin. Benyamin is Binyamin. Ushmo Kish ben Aviel ben Tzor ben Bechwad ben Afich ben Ish Yamini Gibor Chayil. He was a Gibor Chayil. He was a strong warrior. Velaya ben Ushmo Shaul. His son's name was Shaul. Bachur Vatov. What is a Bachur? I guess young man. Vatov. And he's good. Ve'en ish mi bnei Israel tov mimenu. Again, the word tov. And there's nobody from bnei Israel tov than him, better than him. So we already have the word tov twice. Mishichmo v'mala. From his shoulders and upwards. What is shichmo? So the shechem is the shoulders. So in modern Hebrew, people want to describe somebody that's a good person. They say they are mishichmo v'mala. They are, they're adequate people from their shoulders up, meaning they're good. They're a good head. There's a good person, grounded person, trustworthy person. And over here it says Gava Mikolam. So the Mefarshim over here say, what do you mean Ushmo Shaul Bachur? What do you mean that he's a Bachur? He's a young man. Okay, he's a man. But so the Mahari Kara, which is one of the commentators here, he called him Bachur, which is a young man. Sheyuchal yilachem velishpot, that he could go to war and he could judge the Jewish people. Okay, I don't think you need to be a young man in order to judge the people, but maybe to go to war you need maybe more agility, more strength. And what do you mean vitov? And it said it twice in the pasuk. The Mikra says shelo yeh lokeach shochad b'mishpat. Being good is going to be the judge that's not going to take shochad, not to take bribery, not to be affected, not to try to, take sides. And that's what it means tov. So, by the way, there's a beautiful chidush I once heard. It says after the Shema of the morning, v'yatziv v'nachon v'kayim v'yashar v'ne'eman v'na'uv v'chaviv v'nechmad v'na'im v'tov v'yafeh. And then at the very, 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 very end it says v'tov v'yafeh. It's about 15 expressions about Hashem. Yatziv, structured. Yatziv v'nachon, and right. V'ne'eman, and faithful. V'yashar, and straight. All these things, and only at the very end it says v'tov v'yafeh, and good and nice, meaning and it looks nice. Meaning there's so many qualities that we should be looking for in anything, in a partner, in a home, in friendship, in a community, and whatever it is, before it looks nice and appealing, right? Tov la'inayim, like Chava said, that's one of the last things we should be looking at. The real goodness is like all the first principles that you see, so it has to be loyal, it has to be faithful, it has to be structured, it has to be stable, it has to be consistent, it has to be truthful, it has to be all these things. At the very end, it could be a fit, it could also be nice. And if it's not nice, it's not good also. But that's maybe in the last level of the thing. But over here it says about Vitov. It doesn't mean Vitov, okay, he's good, he's whatever. Actually, it's very interesting. He says over here, Bachur Vatov, ve'en ish b'nei Yisrael tov mimenu mishmoro v'al gava mikolam. So he says Tov over here doesn't mean that he's attractive or anything, even though that he was, but he was shelo yeh lokeach shochad, that he's not going to take bribery. Okay, and the pasuk continues to say, Mishichmo v'mala gava mikolam, taller than everybody in the nation. Okay, maybe it's very visible to see that the person stands out. And by the way, you know that the Kohanim also had to be like this. A Kohen, certainly a Kohen Gadol, had to be wise, had to be strong, and had to be wealthy. And if the Kohen Gadol was missing, wealthy, had to be wealthy.
Okay.
And if he was missing one of these, they made him wealthy. Everybody gave him so he could be. Why? Because that's what the people need, I guess, in order to like have some sort of, appreciation for the high priest or whatever it is. So if he was strong, he had to pick up all these korbanot, right? And he had so tall, it's an appearance, strong, physically you need that also, it's impressive. And also the third element also. So over here, maybe, okay, Gavon Mikolam, he was taller, okay, could be that something that is needed. And what happened with him? How did Hashem, or why did Hashem choose him? Why does Hashem choose Shaul to be the first king of Israel? So here's what we're going to see. From a personal story between him and anyone know this story about Shaul at all? Anyone? A little bit? Heard about it? Okay.
What story?
So meaning why he was chosen with the atonot, with the mules. So his father's mules, with the mules, atonot. So what happened is, so it's very, very interesting that like, why does Hashem choose him? Because of mules. Okay, so let's see what happened with the mules. So anyways, his father has mules that have gone missing. Donkeys are missing, atonot, and he says to his son, hey, 3 of our donkeys are missing, can you go look for them? He's like, Dad, of course I'll go anywhere. Now if they're missing, they're not like they're missing, like you have to find them. So he takes on the mission, and he takes one of the helpers from the house, maybe one of the slaves or something, a young, just like person that works for them, and he goes, and his father tells him, and go look for these mules. And he went in Mount Ephraim. They went from city to city, mountain, village, valley, place. They're going again, more. They're looking, and they're not giving up. They're not giving up to look for them until it was like, wow. Hema ba'u be'eretz Suf v'Shaul amar la'na'or Shemuel Aleph v'Nashua. So they already went to this. They arrived at a very far place, and Shaul tells his helper, "Okay, let's go back home. We can't find these mules. We can't find the donkeys. Pen yechdal avi min atonot v'da'ag lanu." My father's going to be so worried, not even about the mules, but about us. We're not coming back home.
It's like the story of Yosef.
Huh?
It's like the story of Yosef.
It reminds us of the story of Yosef, because he sent Yosef to look for his brothers,
Right.
and here that's very interesting. So his helper, even though his helper, I don't know if he's, even has the right to speak, but he speaks to him and gives him idea. Back then there was like hierarchy. Okay, so like I'm telling you what to do, you help me. But now the helper is giving him advice. Like, hey, why do you want to go back home? I know that there's a big prophet. His name is Shemuel Aleph, and people go ask Shemuel Aleph for advice, like even for personal matters, what to do, where to go, where to this, should I that, should I move, should I go, should I build, should I sell? And so why don't we go to the Navi? Isha Elohim, a man of God, Ba'ir Azot, Va'ish Nichbat Kol Asher Daber Bo Yavo. Anything Shmuel the prophet says, Bo Yavo, will come true. So why don't we go to him? You're looking for your mules, he'll tell you where they are. So Shaul tells his helper, okay, let's just say it's a good idea to go, but when we go to the prophet, when we go to the man of God, we have to give him a gift. What are we going to give him? We didn't plan to go see him. We don't really have anything with us. We have a little bit of bread. Even our bread is finished. We don't have a gift to give to the prophet. I have a quarter shekel silver. I'll give it to the prophet, and he's going to tell us the way. By the way, the Ralbag speaks about this. He says, what kind of thing is this that like you go to a prophet and you have to give him money so he could help you, like what, why? And you think Shaul HaMelech is on that level that he's going to ask you for things just to help you.
Yeah.
He's a prophet from Hashem.
Give me the money first.
Yeah, give me the money first. And by the way, in today's world, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there are unfortunately a lot of places that take advantage of people. Meaning like Jewish institutions or places that like you want a blessing or you want this, and they say, well, only if you pay. Then you should know that if you want to go to a rabbi, I'll tell you a rule now. If you'll be in Israel, and they tell you, there's rabbis that have what's called Kabbalat Kahal, which is a time that they allow people to come and ask for advice or get a bracha. This is the rule. If it's a condition that you have to give money in order to get a blessing from the rabbi,
Don't
forget
go.
it.
Run. Don't go.
Don't go. If the rabbi accepts everybody, and people that want to donate to the rabbi or to the yeshiva, to the thing, beautiful. You want to help a yeshiva. But if there's a condition, they tell you want to see the rabbi, $300, $1,000. So, okay, thank you very much. I'll go to the kotel for free. I'll take that money. I'll give it to poor people that don't have what to eat. Hashem will help me and everything. I'll give me a hidiyah. So when we ask about Shemuel and Avi, why is he saying, how can you ever go to the prophet? You don't have what to give a prophet. So says the Ralbag, he says that's not. Shemuel and Avi was never like that. But he says over here like this. A person that the leader of all of Am Yisrael, he needs a little bit of silver from you, like what, right? How would he even, take such gift? So he says it's not that the Navi, the prophet, was asking for it or was a conditional thing for you in order to have a time with the Navi. Rather, when you give or grant something to the prophet, it just helps them it just awakens them for a moment. Not that they need it, not that they cannot be awakened without it, but it was some sort of gesture that people did so that it could just bring the Navi, the prophet, a little bit closer to them and more focused on them. And then the prophecy would be channeled to this person's needs. And then he says, we found the same thing with Yitzchak, that told Esav, go bring me food from the field. Yeah? Didn't he tell his son, go bring me food from the field, and then I will bless you? Not that he needs food in order to bless. It's not like, coins in a slot machine. Rather, it's just to awaken the fondness in a way.
But also, I wonder maybe for the person who's doing that, it gives him more
Belief.
chizuk that
Yeah.
could be makabel sometimes.
That I also think that way.
Yeah.
That you think, I give that, so really now we're connected. And then maybe when the person giving the gift is so connected, and then they're open and prone and maybe the openness to receive a bracha or to receive something. That's what I think is so that's what he says over there. Meaning to say, the idea is that you didn't have to pay or give a gift in order to have time with the prophet. That wasn't what it was about. Okay, so he says, hey, let's go to him. I have a little bit of something. We can still go to him. Okay.
Or this for the mules.
What?
Or this because they're looking for the donkeys.
Yes, they're looking for the donkeys. That's very interesting. I don't know if this is your question, but it's a good question. How do you, for a donkey, you go to a prophet? But
that's exactly what...
It was important to them.
It was an important...
and his father asked him to get it also. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, they went for that. People used to go for that. That's what it looks like over here. Today we call a prophet Navi. But Lifanim, originally they used to call a prophet Ro'eh. Ro'eh is, they see the ability to see to something or to envision something, either to the future or to the needs or to a place that people needed to get counsel for. ויאמר שאול לנערו טוב דברך לך ונלך וילכו אל העיר אשר שם איש האלוהים. By the way, one of the commentators said over here, this is already another yet, not only a quality that is praiseworthy of Shaul, that he went after his father's advice to go look for these mules, and it took them days apparently, but secondly, that he's listening to the advice of this young helper, which he shouldn't even be tending to, but he's like, no, let's go to the prophet, and Shaul is really listening to him. So he's not, overinflated or egocentric or anything else. He's open and prone and available and willing to hear ideas from a person that's lower than him.
Good quality for a king.
Qualities of?
Good quality for a king to listen to people.
Yeah. So he says, Yud Aleph, Hem ha'olim b'ma'alei ha'ir v'hem matzu na'arot yotzot lishtob mayim v'yemuru la'hen ha'esh be'ezeh ha'oeh. So they found woman going and bringing water from the well, and they asked him, "Where's the ro'eh? Where's the prophet?" And they answered to them and they said, "Yesh hine lefanecha." There's someone right in front of you. Maher, quickly, ata, now, ki hayom ba la'ir. He just arrived at the city today, ki zevach hayom la'am b'bama, because today people in the nation are offering their offerings. Keva'achem ha'ir, when you come to the city, can't timtzeun oto. Now there's a big question. So these women drawing water from the well are talking to Shaul and to his helper, right? So he asked them, "Where's the prophet?" And they said, "Oh, he's here in the city." And then the next pasuk it says, "When you come to the city, you'll find him." But you just said he's in the city. Where's the prophet? Oh, he's in the city over there. And when you go to the city, you'll see him in the city. That they said that already. So Rashi and also the Ma'ari Kra says the same. They say they just prolonged the conversation with them, even though they could have just said he's in the city. But they prolonged the conversation in more and more words, kind of elaborating, just like taking their time with them. Why? To just enjoy the yofi, the beauty of Shemuel Aleph. And they're just talking more and more and more and more and more, and because of that. So that also shows a distinctive element of Shaul that he was there. Now, the Radak, Rabbi David Kimchi, explains that when it says that today they call the prophet. Today they call the prophet. Today, I mean, we all know that a prophet is a navi, but they used to call him a ro'eh. So it says Rabbi David Kimchi, all the years of the kingdom of Shaul were 2 years.
What is this?
The whole story of Shaul is 2 years, meaning from he's king until the end of his kingdom, 2 years. Very short. And so here it's like a futuristic pasuk. They used to call him ro'eh, but today we call him navi. Who wrote the book of Shmuel? Shmuel. So how is Shmuel saying they used to and now they do this? So he wants us to understand that the book of Shmuel was written by Shmuel, and and this was pretty much what we're reading now. Already from now, it's going to be a few chapters. It's already in the last days of the prophet Shmuel, not in his earlier days. He lived 52 years, very little. He didn't live many years, but this is already towards the end of his days. He's probably 50 years old by now. Yeah. Because Shmuel died still in the days of Shaul HaMelech. ושאול המלך כי עם 2 שנים, he's only a king for 2 years. אם כן, מהו לפנים? ומהן היום ייתכן לפרש קריאת האוהל הנביא כמו שהיה לפנים, כן היה המשך. Okay. Alright. So, they answer them, go see him, he's in the city. When you come to the city, before he goes up to bring his offering, because nobody eats until they bring the offering, until he blesses the offering. What do you mean he blesses the offering? He does the korban and he prays to Hashem when they do the offering. Okay, so we're in Pasuk Yudaled, verse 14, in chapter 9, yeah? And they went up to the city. Hema ba'im betoch ha'ir. So Shaul and his helper are coming into the city. And they see Shmuel. It's like, what a coincidence. They're going into the city and they're passing by Shmuel. They never saw Shmuel. They don't know what he looks like. So they turn to him and say, but excuse me, where can I find the ro'eh? Where can I find the prophet? And Shmuel already knows. V'Hashem gala et ozen Shmuel. Hashem already told to the ears of Shmuel what is going to happen. He said, remember the people were asking for a king? And remember I told you to give them a king? Well, I'm letting you know that today somebody's going to come to you and ask you, where's the prophet? And he's going to have a helper and he's going to look for his donkeys. That's the king. So he already told him that. So Shmuel is walking and lo and behold, somebody with a helper says, where's the prophet? So Shmuel, that's what he said. V'Hashem gala et ozen Shmuel yom echad lifnei bo Shaul. The day before that, Shmuel already knows everything that's going to happen. I'm going to send you a person from the land of Binyamin, and you will be mashachto, do shemen amishcha, you anoint him with oil to be a king. He'll save the nation from the Philistines. Because I saw the needs of my nation, כי באה צעקתו אליי, because their scream, their call came out to me, ושמואל ראה את שאול, and Shmuel saw Shaul, ואדוני ענהו, and God answered him, הנה האיש אשר אמרתי אליך זה יעצור בעמי. So Shmuel saw Shaul, and even at the moment that he saw Shaul, Shmuel had like a flash in his mind that Hashem is telling him, this is him. This is him. Like as he's talking to him, Hashem anahu, ze, he told him, ze ya'atzor ba'ami, this is the one. ויגש שאול שמואל בתוך חשב ויגיד אני איזה בית הרועה. So he's asking where's the רועה, where's the prophet? And Shmuel told Shaul, אנוכי הרועה, I am the רועה. So he told him, he didn't hide it from him. He said, I am actually the רועה. It's nice that you're asking, I am the רועה. What a coincidence. Now, don't wait. עלה לפני הבמה, go before me to the bama, to where they were offering the offerings. ואכלתם עמי היום ושילחתיך בבוקר וכל אשר בלבבך אגיד לך. So there's a question over here that the Radak asks. Is this a way of anava? Is this like a humble approach of like a prophet? Like, you know, you're asking a prophet, I'm sorry, where can I find the home of the prophet? So is that really the way that maybe we would want to see? So the Radak says over here, Lo haya ze chutz. So first of all, he says, no, it's not considered a lack of humility, of lack of being humble. Why? Because he asked him, where can I find the prophet? So he told him the truth. So one answer is, no, it's fine. He just asked him and he told him, it happens to be that it's me. Don't go looking around in circles. It's me. But another answer is, in Sifri, in the Midrash, here it was a bit of a stumbling block for Shmuel the prophet. You know what he could have said? Maybe ask somebody else. I'm sorry, I can't, you know. Just, he could have said something else. Meaning, try to avoid like saying, you know, something that is so kind of empowering. Amalu HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you know what Hashem said to Shemuel and Avi? He said, Ata ro'eh, you are the seer, you are the prophet. And by the way, how did they call the prophet? Ro'eh, like you see, right? Like you can see everything. I'm going to make a time where you're not going to see. Well, you're not going to see. You said you see, you'll see that you're not going to see. So Hashem is so micro-sensitive with people that are tzaddikim, right? Like very, you know, watch the words. Ani modiacha she'en ata roeh. Actually, you see that you don't see.
What would you say what you're talking about?
Yeah, he says it over here. Ve'echan odio. And where did he tell him? Where did he tell him? And where did it happen that the seer could not see the truth, could not see what he was looking for? Where? B'sha'ah she'amar lo, when God told Shmuel and Avi later on, after Shaul was causing problems, and soon we're going to see, B'ezrat Hashem, that Shaul went to a war. He had a few problems. He failed in a few things. I mean, I'm not, Psukim say it. And then Shmuel and Avi, God tells Shmuel, go tell Shaul his kingdom is over, because he didn't follow me. We're going to see later that basically they went to a war with the Plishtim. With Amalek. And Amalek had a king called Agag. And God tells Shmuel to command Shaul the king, go kill the entire Amalek. Not only kill the warriors at war, men, women, children, babies, sheep, chicken, ducks, cows, horses, camels, donkeys, fish, anything you see, everything they have, destroy. Don't leave one living or nothing from the whole thing. Take it all out. So that was his commandment. So they go to war, and then the people are like, they see cattle. Like,
good cattle.
Good
cattle, white
cattle. Why should we? Why should we kill the cattle? We can actually bring it and sacrifice to Hashem, and so on and so forth. And also the king, they didn't kill the king Agag. So Shmuel comes back after the war, and he tells Shaul, "Oh, you have the war. Very good. What's the sound of the sheep that I hear over here?" He said, well, the people wanted the sheep. I told you to kill the sheep. And what about Agag? You didn't kill him. So he said, I didn't kill him. So he said, okay, well, now you lost everything. You didn't listen to Hashem, you lost everything. And so he pleaded him to have mercy on him. And Shaul HaMelech goes and grabs onto the cloak of Shmuel the prophet, and it tears. And when it tears, Samuel tells Shaul, he looked at that it tore. He said, God tore your kingdom away from you. Meaning it's a sign that God tore your kingdom away from you. So then Hashem tells the prophet, go find, there's a new king, go to the house of Ishai, and his children are going to be, one of his children is going to be the king. Go there and you'll know who it is. So he goes there, he tells Ishai, go bring me all your children. So of course Ishai brings all the children except for David Melech. And he looks at all of them. No. And he's like, you're lying to me, that's not all your children. Oh yes, okay, fine, David. And so over there, that's where Shmuel couldn't see. Meaning, he couldn't really see right away for what it really is. Now you're saying that you're the way you see, but you don't see. You'll see that you don't see. And that's what he told him over here. That's what it says over here. Vayaret Eliav, and because in the beginning he saw Eliav, the son of Ishai. He was tall and handsome and strong, and everything. So he said, "Oh, this is the king." And he asked Hashem, "Is this the king?" And Hashem told him, "No." So you see, so you don't see. So that's how he kind of gave him like an understanding of that. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, lo amarta anochi haroeh, didn't you say that you're the seer? So how come you couldn't see the truth about Eliav? And he told him, Al tabet el mareu, don't look at his physical appearance, rather look at something else. Because Eliav had a lot of because of anger, that's why he didn't choose him.
Now, is that why Mordechai was from Benjamin, so he had to rectify what his ancestor didn't do and kill Haman?
I heard of that once, yeah. Because they were also from Amalek. Yeah. Haman, Amalek, and then Amalek. They're beautiful. And also, yeah. Okay. Okay. So he said, Ani haroeh, so you're going to eat with me today. And verse 20, and for the mules that you're looking for, that were lost, hayom sheloshet hayamim, here 3 days. So the Mefarshim say it's not that they were gone for 3 days already, that he's going to be with him for 3 days. Al tasemet li b'chal ha'en ki nimtzau, they were already found, people found them already, don't worry, they weren't eaten by lions or something, they were found. And anyways, all the wonders, the goodness of Am Yisrael, who does it belong to anyways? To you. And to that house of your father. I mean to say, you're worried about 3 mules. All the animals of all the Jewish people are yours. And Shaul is already trying to figure out what is he telling me that all the animals are mine. Vayan Shaul, Vayomer, and Shaul tells Shemuel and Avi, Halo beni mini anochi, mikatnei shivtei Israel. I'm from the tribe of Binyamin, the smallest of the tribes of Israel. Umishpachti hatzeira, and within that tribe, we're like the youngest and freshest family. Like we're not a credible family. We don't have a special royalty to us by any means. Why are you telling me that all the animals of Israel are mine? ויקח שמואל את שאול ואת נערו והביאם לשכת ויתן להם מקום בראש הכרויים והמה כ30 איש. And then he takes them and he put them in Rosh HaKeruim. He put them at the hand of Keruim, 30 Keruim or 30 prophets. And now Shaul is sitting with prophets. Like, so there's a whole nation over there, and there's a place that's elevated where Shmuel the prophet and all these other prophets are there with the main korban sacrifice, and he's calling Shaul to sit with him. He's already amazed.
How old is Shaul?
I suspect that he's not young. My suspicion is that he's not like a... He says that he's a Bachur, right? And the Mefarish said Bachur, we would think is a young man, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's like 18, 20, 22. I think he was more than that, because he was a king for 2 years, and when he was a king, he already had children, Michal and Yehonatan, and another one that married David, so they're like not 10 years old. So he must have been maybe late 30s, 40s or so, something like that. That's what I feel, that he was already over there. So anyways, that's a good question. So he put them in the head of the table. So he tells the person that's in charge of the food, give the main meal to Shaul. And Shaul is very, very surprised with that. And we're going to verse 25. And they went down from the Bama, and Prophet Samuel speaks to Shaul al-Hagag on the Gag. What is a Gag? Gag is a roof. But it just occurred to me that Hagag, doesn't it sound like Agag?
The king?
Huh?
It's like a remnant.
So Hagag is spelled with a hey, but it could be Agag. So he's maybe hinting to him for the future.
Very, very interesting.
Don't mess up with Agag. I'm on the gag with you, but don't fail. Yeah, it's a play of words. So maybe it doesn't say it in the Mefarshim here, but it just occurred to me. Huh?
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, yeah. And you know why I believe that it's foreshadowing? Because if you look at Rashi, he says over here, Al Hagag, he spoke to him on the roof. Mochicho umelamdo li'ir'a et HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's rebuking him and teaching him to fear Hashem. What does being on a roof have to do with fearing Hashem? I don't know. So maybe
To be closer to the sky.
Yeah. Well, Hashem's all over. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
It
was
could
done
be
private.
under the sky, but I feel that it has something to do with like some sort of
A remnant.
a remiss, some sort of hint. You know what I mean? It could be the sky, but maybe it's a little bit of a hint. Kuma. So he told him. So he said, I want to send you away, and they went outside. Right? So Shmuel told Shaul, go tell your helper, and he's going to go in front of us. And you stand today, and I will tell you what Hashem wants of you. So now we're in chapter 10. Do we have chapter 10 over here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shmuel took the...
Yeah.
Oh wow, we have so much more. Shmuel took pach hashemen, ויצוק על ראשו וישקהו ויאמר הלא, כי משכחה השם על נחלתו, נגיד Hashem placed you on his נחלה. לנגיד, he's making you a king. בלכתך היום ימודי ומצאת שני אנשים. Now he's going to tell him all these things that are like signs that it's really going to happen. When you leave my home, when you leave over here where we are now, you're going to find two people. Im Kvurat Rachel, right around Bethlehem, where Binyamin is, Bigvul Binyamin, Betzeltzach, and they're going to tell you, we found the mules you're looking for, right? And then you're going to go from there, and you're going to get to Alon Tavor. You're going to find three people going up to the mountain of Hashem. One of them is picking up three lambs, and one of them is picking up 3 loaves of bread, and one person with wine. They're going to tell you shalom. They're going to give you 2 loaves of bread. Take it from them. Then you're going to go somewhere else. He's telling him everything's going to happen. And lo and behold, it happens. And then go to verse 6. V'tzalcha alecha ruach Hashem v'itnabita imam. V'nefachta leish. You're going to have a spirit of Hashem. And you're going to be a prophet with those prophets. V'nefachta leish. You're going to turn into a different person.
I like that.
Yeah, who turns into a different person?
To a different person.
I mean, in Seattle, whatever. What? How do you turn into a different person?
So wait a second. This is like in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden, Shaul becomes king.
Looking for the
Like shouldn't there be a coronation or something?
So that is a very, very big question. Huh?
But they never happened before. How would that look?
Oh.
That's a good question. I believe that first he anoints him with the oil, and you're going to see this also with King David. He doesn't tell people. He does it in the house, quiet, nobody knows about it. Over there he did it because you can't anoint another king while there's another king, and it's Mored B'Malchut. But I think Shmuel and Avi has a theme, has like a ethos where his way is don't do things like, with too much publicity, like let's anoint the king and then it'll be known. So what he does over here, he puts oil on his head, no coronation, but later on you'll see that there's a coronation. You'll see. So he says over here, you're going to turn into ish acher, a different man. What is a different man? What kind of different man? והיה כי תבון האותות האלה לך עשה לך אשר תמצא ידיך כי האלוהים עמך. So what is this different man situation, right? So the different man, the Metzudat David says, in the forthcoming verses, it says different man, and it says different heart. Lev acher, ish acher. What is a different heart, different man? So he says over here, a different man and a different heart, according to the Metzudat David. Ish acher is nevuah. You're gonna be able to prophesy. And a different heart is the heart of a king. What's the heart of a king? A king needs a king's heart, like for war, for leading the people, for decisiveness, for clarity, for direction, for proactivity, and for being behind, rather being in the forefront. And so Shaul is not necessarily like that, and suddenly boom, Hashem blesses him to be with that.
And I'm just wondering what was going through Shaul's head. Like, do we have any idea how he processed all this? He just went looking for some donkeys.
And then all of a sudden he's king?
Yeah, he's looking for donkeys, and then they're looking at him, they're telling him to go there, and then he meets the prophet face to face, and he goes and he eats before. Huh?
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it's a lot to, and he's and right away he's not falling off his chair, right? He keeps going, and then he's saying, you're going to turn into a man. But maybe because he's warned about it, he's like, look, you're going to turn into a man, meaning you're going to feel some weird stuff going on, and you're going to see all these things, and then you're going to hear nevuah, you're going to be a prophet. So he's maybe he's ready for it, but maybe he's also that worthy person that can take things on. Maybe that's why Hashem had Shmuel choose him, because he already had that capacity, he was that aptitude, maybe he already had that. But it's a wonderful question to kind of think about, like, you need to have some sort of characteristic for that, to be able to intake such a change. So he says over here, and then he tells him in Pasuk Zayin, Aseh lecha asher timtza yadecha. So you're going to see all these signs, you should do for yourself like you can. What do you mean do for yourself? What are you going to do for yourself? So the Metzudat David said, you have to make yourself klei malchut. You have to make for yourself somehow, go to a blacksmith something, and they'll make, things that a king wears. Whatever your style is, you want this way, whatever you like, make your own stuff, because you're going to be a king. So you got to be ready, because you got to make your crown, make your thing, start preparing it. Believe it's going to happen. And by the way, also for us, some people believe that you have to set the stage for Mashiach in Israel, set the stage for the Bet HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, and also on a personal level, set the stage for the things that Hashem wants to give you. And then you go to the Gilgal, and I will go down to you. Wait for me 7 days, and I will come to you after all this stuff. 7 days later, I'm gonna come meet you, and I'll tell you what you should do. And really, that's what Hashem did to him. He gave him a lev acher, and all these things happened. And then they came here at Givata, and really, that's what happened over there. And everything that was promised to him happened. And everybody that knew Shaul from Tmol Shilshom, from yesterday and the day before, they're like,
yeah, right?
That's not him. I mean, I know it's him, but wow. So they said, a person from Kish, from Binyamin, Hagam Shaul b'Nevi'im. Shaul is also in the prophets. And by the way, there's a very famous saying, Hagam Shaul b'Nevi'im. That's what the pasuk says. All the prophets, they have a father that's a prophet. Prophecy and holiness does not come in hereditary form. You can get it on your own, regardless and irrespective of what home you were raised in. Your parents could have been the farthest away from prophets, but you're a prophet. Don't tell me where is he coming from, how could he be a prophet? Look at all the prophets, nobody was like that. And so, that's why the saying of Agam Shaul b'Nevi'im, and it's also for us. We don't need how do you say yichus? How do you say in Ladino yichus?
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't need yichus. We don't need
inheritance? No.
Vayomer dot Shaul elav now. Anyways, and that's what the Marika says. Maybe we'll end off with this, even though we have much more to do. But the Marika says over here. So there's no Yerusha. There's no inheritance of nevuah. Ki Hashem iten chokhmah mipiv da'at udvuna. It's a pasuk from Mishlei. Hashem gives you the wisdom, from His mouth is da'at udvuna. Ve'ani lamadati u'mi'avihem eze shevet nimtza mimino shetishra alav chagod Hashem shevet Binyamin. Anyways, so he becomes a prophet, and it all happens. Let's just go a little further towards the end. So we finish this. So what does Shemuel Hanavi do? He decides to make like a lottery, and he calls all of Am Yisrael. He says, "Okay, you wanted a king? Let's make a lottery." So he takes notes, from each tribe, and from each tribe, from each family's particular person, and he shows them how Kilu is a lottery, that it's chosen from Hashem, and it really happens that everybody puts the family names on all the names, and who comes out? Binyamin. From Binyamin, the family of Kish. From that, Shaul. And they said, no way, that can't be. What do you mean Shaul Binyamin? Shaul, that can't be. And they said, it's Shaul. Where's Shaul? And it says, so nobody knew where Shaul is. They needed a prophecy to know where he is. And Hashem said, you know where he is? Nichbay lakelim. Raise your hand if you ever heard of that term in Hebrew, modern Hebrew, nichbay lakelim. You heard it. Nichbay lakelim means you're shy. So what does it mean over here, you're shy? One perush is nichbay lakelim. You know the coat room where everybody puts their coat? So that back then they didn't have coat. They had swords, shields, armor. So they put it over there. Everybody that came to see Shemuel and Avi, so they had a room like a kelim room. So he was so embarrassed because he probably felt that they're going to say his name, so he was hiding over there. Or all the helpers would go in the coat room, next to the coat room, they would hang out. Or nichbay lekelim, what is the kli urim v'tumim? The prophecy with the Kohen Gadol. So he went to the urim v'tumim. He said, even though Shmuel the prophet said I'm going to be a king, I want to go to the Kohen. I'm scared. I just want to double check. Me? So he went to the Kohen to ask again, and in urim v'tumim, in the stones that lit up, he indeed saw that it also happened, and they brought him to over there, and then this is the coronation, that everybody's there, and this is where Shmuel makes it known that he is going to be the king. Unfortunately, many people had Yirat Shamayim, and they said Hashem chooses the king, even though it's from an unpredicted or unexpected tribe, an unexpected family. Hashem said, it's the king, he's going to be my king. And they went after him. He already started formulating a small army. But there were people that didn't go after that and didn't want to follow that and didn't want to agree that he's going to be the king, and they didn't go after him, they didn't honor him, they didn't give him gifts and so on and so forth. That's the end of Perek Yud, that it says in Pasuk Chav Zayin 27, how's this person going to save us from this tribe? Vayivzuhu. And they demised them, and they didn't honor him, so on and so forth. And Blina, in the next class, we shall continue what happens with Shaul and the wars that he will lead Bnei Yisrael into. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
There seem to be a lot of sacrifices that were happening at this time, too.